Welcome to Geeks 4x4, and today I'm finally going to tackle the frame on the Bobbed Excursion, at least I hope. I'm going to try one more thing, and hopefully this works, and then I can start welding stuff into it to box it so it never happens again. I am going to make a winch triangle. It's going to be great. So out of the winch of the truck, because that's the only winch I have here, to the back of my LJ, to the front of this LJ, to something on the frame that I can, because what's happened is the C, well, I'll do it this way because that's the way it is. This part of the C is up like this. So I need to just bring it down. It's like a 1/4 inch. It's not really that much. I'll go under there real quick and show you. I'm going to have to remove the transmission cross member, hoping that I don't have to remove the suspension parts, the A-arm mount, control arm mounts, but I might have to. We'll see. See if we can get this thing going. So anyway, let me crawl underneath the truck, show you guys what we're dealing with, and show you what we started with. I've already pulled the mount back. Because the frame bent, the PMF mount just bent just a hair. And so when Grace and Camo were here, we hooked the winch up from Camo, and I'll show you that footage, and then we'll crawl underneath here and show you where we're at right now. So we grabbed the bottom of the control arm mount with the winch and just kind of slowly worked it out. Kind of crazy how much flex this C-channel frame has. You can tell, I mean, you can see we're pulling it a good bit of flex, and then yeah, you can just hear it. I mean, see how far over it is? So anyway, kind of crazy. Yeah, so this is a pretty good view. I know it's still cloudy and terrible, but that's what we're dealing with here. So this is actually bent up in here, and then you can see the big rise right here, and I think I'm gonna probably have to take this out to deal with it, but we're gonna start with pulling the transmission cross member, getting all this stuff stabilized up in here, and then we'll pull control arms, drop the mount down, come along. I'm trying to try and use a pipe wrench, so pipe wrench on a winch, and hopefully that will be enough to just tweak this thing back down to where it needs to be. So that's the hope. All right, well, let's get this set up here. I'm going to support the transmission and transfer case. So that's what I'm doing right there. And then pulling out all the bolts on the transmission cross member. Ford used like 5 bolts on each side, which is pretty wild. Anybody seen that on any other vehicles? It seems like a lot. But anyway, pulling those bolts and then realizing that I probably need to pull the suspension mount and starting to work on pulling the suspension mount. I forgot how tight these bolts were. The specs on them were crazy. You can see me pushing my foot against it to pull and stuff. My impact wouldn't release them. They've got those lock nuts on them, and they were, I don't know, 230 foot-pounds or something crazy. So I just pulled all this, pulled the control arm mount, and that puts us right here. All right, well, here's what we got. Doesn't look that bad, but check this out. Yeah. So, pretty bad right in there. And, I mean, yeah. Okay, so back in here, looks okay. Starts getting down, up a little bit on the front hole. And then you can see it just grows and grows and grows, and then it gets back down. So once you get over to this side, it's pretty good. But essentially from here to here is where it's tweaked up. So the hope is I can take these, sneak them in here, and do a little bit of twisting here. And see if I can bring this sucker down, and then hopefully we can get that back level, and then put a brace pretty much right here. I'm going to put a brace straight up from right where this thing is sitting up to the top and weld that in, and then I have an idea to brace across the center of these now with the skid plate, so I think I'm going to have a little bit of a lot of strength down here. So anyway, I'm gonna rig up the winch so I can go slow. I was doing it with a hammer, but I think it's better if I can just go slow. So anyway, that's what I'm gonna be doing. Alright, so I'm just kind of setting everything up here, trying to figure out where everything needs to go. I'm going to put the front of the yellow Jeep almost like dead even with it. So I'm going to pull straight out. I don't want to be pulling backwards or forwards, trying to twist that thing. It's already going to be sketchy enough to use the pipe wrench, but I think it's going to work. So let's get this thing set up. And yeah, this is what I'm doing here, just pulling against. Why is it pulling? Why is it not pulling? Alrighty, well, I went to pull with the winch, and it's like, man, the thing is just turning, and it's not pulling. Well, after further discovery, further inspection, here's what we got. Yeah, I sheared the bolt off that holds the rope at the end. So even though it was tightened down on the spool, remember I just recovered that canter, and it's interesting because I used this. I actually pulled up the rack from the canter at the end with no issues after I pulled the canter. So I have no clue how and when this happened. It's definitely my fault, because I had this thing half a spool when we had it all the way out. So I definitely put too much stress on it. But wow, interesting. Yeah, probably more also because I don't know how to spool the winch line in. There's a lot of things I don't know about winches. But now I got to figure out how to fix this. Alright, so I ended up getting able to extract the broken piece and then putting a new bolt in there. And now I've got the winch reset up. And let's go again. So I tried to use this piece of metal to separate the load a little bit and make it to where it wasn't just bending the outer edge down. And I don't know if it worked. It felt like it worked decently, but not the best. And then, yeah, it like fell off a couple times. It was a little sketchy. Really glad to have a synthetic line. You'll see I finally got smart here. Put something in there to let it not slide off. And yeah, I mean, it was just, keeping playing with it, pull it more, and, check it, pull it, check it. And I think I got it to the point here where I'm pretty happy with it. Measured everything, and yeah, pretty happy with it. Alrighty, well, that is the control arm put back on, and the frame pretty much as straight as it's going to get over on this side. I don't have anything boxed in there. I'm doing some research on welding to a heat-treated frame. I'm a bit afraid to do it because I don't want to mess it up. So where's my other thought? I build this bottom cross member. I'm thinking that I put little L's on the side of it so that I can bolt those to it. And I also took my degree gauge out and I measured their bolts dead even, 86 degrees in, which is awesome. So I'm thinking if I do this bar, do like a little L bracket off of it, obviously braced, and then bolt it to each of these. So instead of welding to the frame, the heat-treated frame, we instead build a second frame underneath it. Then I don't have to mess with all the fuel lines and everything up there, which would be awesome. And then there's essentially a subframe under here that braces the 4-link mount. And it's going to help the 4-link because it's going to be like down in here to get to the bottom of this transmission mount. So we're going to keep doing that. I don't know if that's going to make it in this video. I hope it does because I'd like to get that done this week. But I need to lay here some more and think. And this is going to take some time. And I don't know. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. Well, finally, the frame is straightened on this truck. Straightened. It's pretty good. It's not all the way flat. But you know what? I think it's going to be just fine to box it. And that thing is not going anywhere after we get the boxing done and all of that stuff. So those will be the next videos. So I'm going to be boxing the frame. I'm going to be building cross members, building skid plates, building all of that. Since you watched long enough, I'll let you know a secret. I've already done a couple of those things. And I'm going to try and release a video sooner than next Sunday. And hopefully you guys will check that out. It's been kind of fun doing lots of fab stuff on this thing. And yeah, I'm kind of excited about it. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will let you go. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for everything. We hit 5K recently. Amazing. Should be a giveaway soon. I got to figure out all that stuff. And yeah, thank you guys so much. I appreciate all the support.